and welcome to this episode of ET Now Hangouts with me, Ankita Saxena. Well, we bring you conversations that matter to you, and on this episode, we are talking about accelerating your career growth. Well, we will be talking about how can you make your resume stand out, and how can you build a better LinkedIn profile, and how can you approach a potential employer. Well, for this, we are joined by Dhairya Gangwani, who's the founder of Dhairya Decodes, and a LinkedIn top voice who is a full-time career coach and content creator. She has been named as one of the top 50 content creators in India by Graphy, by an academy in the year 2021, and was also a part of the first cohort of the top 200 creators of the LinkedIn Creator Accelerator program in India in 2022. She was also felicitated by the government of Uttarakhand as the top 100 women entrepreneurs and creators. Hi Dhairya, welcome to ET Now Hangouts. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much, Ankita. It's a pleasure to be here on the channel and to be hosted by you.
So right off the bat, let's get started why we are here today. We're discussing how to be employable by great companies, how to build that perfect resume, and how to monetize LinkedIn as well. But let's get started with how to stand out from the clutter. The first thing that an employer looks at is your resume. How do you build a resume that really stands out from the hundreds of resume probably an HR would be receiving? What are the key effective parts of a resume that one needs to enhance, and what really makes a resume a good, attractive one?
So, like you very rightly said that when we talk about resumes, generally there is a misconception amongst people that your resumes and your CVs that are created, and these are two terms that are used very interchangeably, are the same thing. But the shocking fact is that they're two very different things, right? All of our employable youth who are looking for work outcomes, which is jobs in MNCs, startups, or any other place, whether it's a government job, when you apply for a job, you build a resume. And when you apply to universities to do a master's or an MBA program is when you build a CV, right? And hence, the very nature of the document is different, although, let me tell you, they look very similar. So if I was to place the resume in a CV right here, and if I showed it to you, they would look exactly the same. Because they have the same sections, the section headers are the same. But the content on a resume is more focused towards your skill set, your work experience, and the impact you have created. Because that's what a recruiter is looking for when employing you, and you are competing with 1,000 other people, right? So I think three essential elements in a good resume that is attractive versus a normal resume. The first one has to be a resume wherein you have all your details specified in a reverse chronological order. Why a reverse chronological order? Because generally the recruiter is more interested in knowing what you've done most recently as opposed to things you've done in the past. It might seem like a very small detail, but a lot of people have a chronological resume as well, wherein they start with, let's say, 2017 experience, then 18, 19, 20, so on. But it should rather be the reverse. You start from 2020, your latest one, and then go on, right? Because that's what the recruiter is most interested in. The second thing is that people aren't able to articulate their experience and the impact that they've created. Rather, they just focus on what they were supposed to do. So instead of just saying, you know, I was responsible for business development, or I was to write copies as a copywriter, when you wrote the copies, what did that translate into for the business or for the client or for your company? That is how articulation becomes more impact and result driven and not duty driven, right? And I think the third thing that you should essentially keep in mind is not resort to very fancy, beautiful looking aesthetic resume templates, but rather stick to the basics, right? A good, well formatted, professional resume template will always be more effective than a fancy, colorful template with all the jazz going around.
Also, a lot of people are confused about the fact that should you have a picture on the resume or not? I think this is a big debate that's going on, right? Like some people put their picture, some don't, because it has potential to influence, take away from the body of work that you have done. What's your take on that?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think this is again a confusion a lot of people have. I feel for two reasons why you shouldn't have it on your resume. The first one being that in general, I mean, we're human beings, and there's something called a human bias, which we do create in our mind. And that does happen even if you don't want to, unknowingly. So just to avoid that, it's better to not have it. The second reason, in fact, is very technical. So there's something called the ATS, which is called the Applicant Tracking System. And 99% of your Fortune 500 companies, which is almost every company that you can think of, has an ATS on their back end when they're scanning through your resumes in 6 seconds.
Right.
And when they do that, what essentially happens is anything that is non-textual, which means images, which means tables, anything other than text gets discarded and distorted by the software.
Oh.
And hence images are not compliant with the ATS.
Right.
And that's why you shouldn't have a lot of images on your ATS, on your resume.
Okay, interesting. I mean, that's a very interesting insight into why one should not have their pictures on their resumes. But you know, the other tool of bringing, enhancing your profile or bringing out your body of work is LinkedIn. That's the social media profile. These days, of course, people use Instagram also to showcase their work profile, but that's usually for a more creative sort of a field. But otherwise, all big companies are on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is the place to go for, to flaunt your skills and whatever it is that you have done, your body of work. Why is LinkedIn now the most important platform, and why is it so important to start networking on LinkedIn?
Right. I think it's the need of the hour, and I'm so glad that you pointed out LinkedIn being a platform where everyone should essentially be active. I think, like you very correctly pointed out, Instagram is a great place to be if you are wanting to venture into a creative role. However, your typical conventional roles when you apply to your MNCs, every company is going to look at your LinkedIn profile. And I'll tell you why more so now than before. Because every other person is building a resume. Every other person has good communication skills and is trying to work on them. How do you stand out of the competition when you have something extra? That something extra has become a good LinkedIn presence. LinkedIn is like your digital canvas or portfolio wherein you can move one step beyond your resume and tell your employer a little bit more about your personality. Passion projects that you're working on. Talk a little bit about what you know about a particular subject in depth, because you can post on the platform, right?
Right.
I also feel that it's a very interesting fact, but you'll be surprised to know that out of the 1 billion active users on LinkedIn, 65 million of them are actually effective and key decision makers. They are people who hold an influential power, and 10 million plus of them are C-level executives, right? And which basically and essentially means they're all looking for talent and obviously the right folks to join their companies. And when they're active on the platform, they're looking for someone who is going just beyond saying that, you know what, I am a software engineer, or let's say I am a journalist, but what is your body of work like? That LinkedIn profile becomes your body of work, because when you regularly post and you're active, you are essentially building a strong personal brand amongst an audience that is wise, educated, and has an influential power. And that's a unique combination that LinkedIn as a platform gives you as opposed to others.
Right. So that brings me to my next question. How does one build an attractive or an effective LinkedIn profile or a personal brand on LinkedIn, since LinkedIn is now resume plus one now?
Yeah, sure. So I think it all starts with your profile picture, right? As simple as it may seem, people use their Instagram selfies as their LinkedIn display pictures.
But that's a big no-no, right?
It's a big no-no. It's a big no-no. I think the one sanity question that you should ask yourself is that, would I post this picture on Instagram? If the answer is yes,
then you don't post it on LinkedIn.
Then you don't post it on LinkedIn. And that shouldn't be your display picture for sure. And I think just try and be professional. I'm not saying you have to be dressed in like a blazer or pantsuit in your display picture on LinkedIn, but you can't be very casual. The attitude can't be casual. That's about it. The banner, which is on your LinkedIn profile, is extremely essential to attract not just recruiters, but anybody on your profile, right? Because we have a very quick, very short attention span right now. Nobody is going to spend 30 seconds also on your profile. 5 seconds, they find it engaging, or they scroll away. And your display picture, your banner essentially, and the headline, these three things are the first thing you see on the UI of LinkedIn in those 5 seconds. So the banner is the area right behind the display picture, which people leave blank for some reason. They don't even fill it up. Or for some weird reason, you will have logos of the companies people are working at or institutions they're studying at there. While that's a good thing to add, your entire banner cannot just be the logo of the company you're working at. Your banner has to answer 3 questions for people. Who are you? What do you do? How do you help people? Right? If I look at your banner and in 5 seconds I know who is Ankita, what does Ankita do, how does Ankita help people, I have gained that amount of interest and I'm peaked enough to now go further and scroll and know more about Ankita's history and what she does, and maybe reach out to her.
So what would be my banner?
Yeah, so your banner should essentially have obviously one logo of ET now, because you're working there for sure. you should be having a news anchor or a journalist or whatever terminology you feel suits you. Specific niche because you cover finance shows.
Yeah.
So finance should be a keyword there.
Okay.
Apart from that, anything and everything that is integral to your work life, right? Which could be as simple as media because you're working in the media space.
Yeah.
So anything that relates to your line of work or is a core expertise or skill needed in your day-to-day life should be there as keywords.
Right.
And then images related to those keywords or brands you worked with or people you've worked with should also be there on your banner if possible.
Okay.
As long as it's not looking too cluttered. But 4 to 5 major keywords have to be there on the banner that answer who is Ankita, what does she do, and how does she help people.
Okay, interesting. And like you mentioned, there are a sea of people waiting there to, hire the best of talent on LinkedIn, but also that talent is plenty. I mean, if you go onto LinkedIn, there are plenty of people who are looking out for jobs.
Yeah.
How does your profile stand out? What is it that employers are really looking for? Like if you were employing someone, how will you look at somebody's profile and how will you instantly get attracted to a particular person's profile in the sea of profiles that you see?
Sure. It'll all start with the headline because the LinkedIn algorithm picks up a profile first from the headline.
Okay.
The headline section has got keywords that people put.
Okay.
And on the LinkedIn algorithm backend, the SEO works in a way that the profiles are shown for a particular keyword from the headline first. So for example, if I was to hire a digital marketer, I type in the keyword digital marketer on the search bar.
Right.
The profiles that are shown to me are shown obviously on the basis of multiple parameters like common connections, location, and all of that. But they're primarily also shown basis the keywords that those people have on their headline. Most of the people that will show up will have the keyword digital marketer on their headline, right? So it starts with the headline. Ensure that your headline has got the keywords for which an employer would search for you. Think from an employer's mindset. If somebody was going to hire you, what keywords would they put on the LinkedIn search bar and have them on your headline, right? Second, skill section. Your skill section has about 50 skills you can add on your LinkedIn profile. Nobody's going to see them. But your top 3 skills are going to get noticed. So ensure that the top 3 skills that you add on your LinkedIn profile, you're extremely confident about, pretty good at them, and you're ready to get questioned on anything and everything under them, right? Under that, the purview of those 3 skills. And the last section, I think, that as a recruiter I would check will be recommendations. Because recommendations is a beautiful way of people who have worked with you, could be your ex-boss, your manager, your colleagues right now working with you, to come down and just pen down 2 to 3 lines about their experience of working with you. And that just goes on to show that a person had a good experience, has something good to say about your skill set, or in general about your ability to get work done. Right? And as a recruiter, when I see your previous employers or current employers talking about the experience of working with you, I would want to hire you, right? To top that up, if you have content, which is you're posting about your current line of work. So, for example, Ankita, if you were to actively start talking about how you host these shows, how do you prepare, how do you do your research, let's say, and you started making posts about them on LinkedIn, and let's say if I had to hire 2 people in this space, somebody who's active and is also talking about their work, their process, and displaying their knowledge, versus somebody who's just written, I'm an anchor, or I'm a journalist, I would definitely go with your profile.
Oh, interesting. That's very interesting. I'm sure there's a lot of takeaways for everybody who's watching this. Also, Dharya, tell us, so LinkedIn is not just a place where people are getting hired or people are hiring. It's a new platform for creators as well. I mean, just like Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. How does that work? How does LinkedIn work as a space for creators, and how can you become a creator on LinkedIn? What are the avenues?
Sure. It's an extremely exciting space. Something that obviously I also wasn't aware of 3 years ago when I just ventured into this space, right? LinkedIn as a platform always wanted to be a place where professionals could connect with each other without any boundaries, right? But it's evolved into this beautiful ecosystem wherein you have creators, you have employers, you have freelancers, business owners, to even the Prime Minister of a country being actively posting there. I think the very reason why they've opened up avenues for creators is because of the fact how large the creator economy today is. And it's become a viable career option. People are looking at it in a legitimate manner, and people are able to monetize it. Because of which the platform also realized that if I was to not give creators an option to present their views, or maybe in the future monetize or work with brands, they wouldn't be able to sustain as a platform, technically, from the revenue standpoint. So that's how the evolution happened. In fact, the interesting thing is that just about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, Ankita, a video feature on the LinkedIn platform has been rolled out. It's still in the beta testing phase, But since I'm the part of the LinkedIn Creator Accelerator program, so we get early access to these features.
Yeah.
This was in talk 7 months back. You will see a separate video tab on your LinkedIn profile now. So you'll have like a feed like TikTok or Instagram has. So they've moved to video first as well, because that's the way to be. And creators on LinkedIn obviously have to stick to text, because text is the speciality of LinkedIn, textual content. But text is combined with videos, it's combined with carousels, you have polls, you can put up PDFs. So the variety...
But couldn't we upload the videos earlier on also? Because
you could.
I remember uploading videos of the shows and everything.
Yes.
You had that option already,
yes,
right?
you did. And in fact, I started as a video creator 3 years back on LinkedIn. But you didn't have a separate tab for videos. So they've created a separate video feed altogether, which means it's going to get more traction, which also means that the video content will now get pushed, right? And they'll move towards short form, which was not the case. And with creators, I think on LinkedIn, if you talk to me, I mean, if you ask me about the avenues, there are multiple. I mean, as a creator, you could very well use it to build a strong professional brand. You could network with folks you've always or aspired to work with. You could use it as a lead generation platform as a freelancer or a business owner. It's a great platform for B2B businesses. And you can run LinkedIn ads to be able to, again, even hire the right talent. A lot of the top MNCs that you see, you will see their ads popping up on your LinkedIn feed. And they run it very effectively. I think, but apart from that, as a creator, today you could work with brands on LinkedIn. All the top brands that you can think of who are running campaigns on Instagram and YouTube are on LinkedIn, right? It's just that the space is very limited right now because a lot of people haven't been able to crack the code. But I am certainly sure that LinkedIn is the next big thing. That's where people are going to get active.
Tell us, how do you monetize LinkedIn then?
So I think, see, firstly to begin with, like I said, the brand creator ecosystem is the biggest chunk in general on any platform. Any brand that resonates with your content and your niche, and they feel that you could be the perfect voice and talk about their product or their service, they will reach out to you via an agency or directly and would want you to talk about it on LinkedIn. Right? That's one. The second way is affiliate marketing as well. There are a lot of companies and brands that would want you to just talk about a particular product or their service on a recurring basis, leveraging your LinkedIn presence and posting about it from time to time and earning a certain commission every time there's a sales through your link. The third one is a very interesting one, but paid gigs and talks. If you want to get good, I would say, platforms to speak on as a speaker, trainer, coach, creator, LinkedIn is the platform to be. 99% of the opportunities that I get, which are speaking gigs, having spoken at 600 plus colleges, worked with about 50 plus corporates, it's all via LinkedIn organically. So if you are somebody who wants to get into the public speaking space, do training, get paid talks, LinkedIn is great. Another avenue which is very interesting is you can build IPs on LinkedIn, which means today, if you're, like I said, I was creating video content 3 years back, nobody was. Hence, I was able to charge slightly more for specific video content and video series I created for brands. Or becoming a brand ambassador for a brand for an entire year, because I'm curating a certain IP for them on LinkedIn. Or hosting LinkedIn audio shows for a particular brand, which are co-powered by them. So these are avenues that I have explored. So speaking from experience, those are a few ways in which you can make money on LinkedIn.
Also tell us, now you've already created a resume, your profile on LinkedIn. The other big part is approaching people or approaching, say, the recruiters for Fortune 500 or the big companies. How does one go about approaching these people? Because for a lot of them, I think that you have the connect icon is hidden, or
you can't directly
approach them.
Right, exactly. So I think there are obviously multiple ways in which you can do it, but I think the right way to do it is obviously, firstly, come under their radar, which means don't just directly send a connection request. A week or two, or at least a month prior, start engaging with the person's content or engaging with their profile recurringly, so that they notice you at least. They've seen you, right?
Because like commenting on their posts,
liking their posts, maybe endorsing a couple of their skills, etc. So firstly, subconsciously, they would have seen your pictures somewhere and there'll be a build-up, right? Not a random pop-up and a message. 3 weeks later, or let's say 4 weeks later, you drop them a connection request, but with a personalized invite, right? You have like 300 characters and you can add a note. But now everybody is adding that note. So that note has to stand out.
Okay.
That note has to be specific to that person and not talking about you. The biggest mistake job seekers make is the first line is, I'm looking for a job, give me a job, right? Or here's my resume, I'm looking for a job. And that's the worst way to get a job because nobody is going to give you a job that way.
Yeah.
So instead, grab the attention of the person. We're fighting for attention, right? Imagine a recruiter or the founder of a startup gets 1,000 connection requests every day.
Absolutely.
Maybe 500 of them have an invite. How will your invite stand out?
Yeah.
You're fighting for his attention or her attention.
Yeah.
You get attention by talking about them, which is the reality, not talking about yourself.
Okay.
So stalk their profile, right? Okay. Find something common between the two of you, break the ice, or appreciate something you genuinely like about their career trajectory, professional work, or something they've done in the recent times. Show them you've done your research well. Then it's okay to talk a little bit about you, but the first invite has to be about them.
Okay.
Once the connection request is accepted is when you now build a professional relationship.
Right.
Talk a little bit about yourself, your skill set, what you've done in the past, how you can help their firm, what you're looking to do with them, and most importantly, if you were to get an opportunity to interview and get that role, what would you do for them?
Okay.
Very few people would have the confidence to actually go ahead and share with a future employer that, hey, if you hire me, I can get this done for you in the first 1 month.
Right.
And that displays a great deal of confidence and conviction in what you do. So if you do that, the chances of them replying increase, and it becomes like a drip mechanism and a relationship built organically over time, and not you just randomly asking for a job. Right? Cold emails work really well too. If you don't want to message them on LinkedIn, just connect with them. They've accepted your request, leave the conversation there. You'll get access to their email ID. Because only when they accept your connection request, you get the access.
Correct.
Drop them a cold email with a video resume, with a good customized resume and a cover letter. Short, crisp email with a great subject line. That could also be a great way to cut through the clutter of their DMs on LinkedIn and hit their inbox.
Right. Great. I mean, those are great insights for somebody who's looking out for a job. Does LinkedIn have any specific programs for creators to give them an impetus, or are there any tools that really help creators build their profile or build a stronger profile on LinkedIn?
Yeah. So there's actually something called the creator mode on LinkedIn. And the moment you turn on the creator mode on LinkedIn, you get access to a creator dashboard.
Yeah.
And you get access to the tools that are specifically given to creators on LinkedIn. You can obviously define certain hashtags on your profile, which will define the niche or the domains around which you create content to give visibility to the creators. Apart from that, you get access to being able to host live events, audio events, LinkedIn video events, etc. There was this program called LinkedIn Creator Accelerator Program that they first rolled out in the US, then came to India, and then did it in Brazil. In 2022, they did it in India, and this was a fully funded program for the top 200 creators in the country on LinkedIn. And we got mentored by Ankur Variku, Naz Daily, Pooja Dhingra, and Radhika Gupta from Edelweiss for 2.5 months. So we were given trainings, we were given funding, and we were given creator tools, by the way, which were shipped to our homes to become a better creator on LinkedIn. So that was an amazing program. We also had a graduation at the LinkedIn headquarters in Bangalore. So that was a very interesting program. They have not run it after 2022, which was the first and the only one in India, but they may have the programs running again. There's also something called LinkedIn LinkedIn editorial team. The LinkedIn editorial team gives access to a select few LinkedIn creators who are extremely active with tips, tricks, and certain trending topics. Every single week we get an inbox email from the LinkedIn editorial team with respect to what kind of content should we be creating, what is trending, what are the things around which we would want your voice to be there on the platform. And then yes, there's something called LinkedIn Top Voice. This is I would say the highest form of recognition that the platform can give you themselves, right? Because there isn't any specific criteria, time frame, form, or application. The only way you can get it is if you have over a significant period of time been creating content in a specific niche that has been resonating with a large audience worldwide. Then you get that badge, because LinkedIn Top Voice, the blue badge, is worldwide, right? So that is something that they honor creators with as well. And they've also started doing a lot of offline events for LinkedIn creators, regular meetups in their offices in the metropolitan cities. And in general, I think there's a lot more to come, but that's what's going on for now.
All right, Dharya, thank you so much for giving us so much of insight into building your resume and how to get started with LinkedIn and build a better profile to get noticed by potential employers. And I think a lot of young people watching this would have a lot to take away from this. Thank you so much for taking the time out and coming to our studio.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here, Ankita, and I really hope this helps the audience.
And well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of ET Now Hangouts. I'll see you same time next week with some more interesting conversations, what's trending and what's hot for the weekend.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.